Inside of what we're seeing today, just speaking about living inside of a historic moment in time, I think we're finally starting to see people getting tired of the pageantry of you being able to say that you care about a situation and not bearing the responsibility to actually show up when it's time for you to show up. What's good, everybody? What's good? Welcome back to yet another episode of Off the Strength, where we're giving you the inside look into all things wellness culture. I'm a trainer called Tony, and of course, with me, I have some gentlemen of extraordinary league. Guys, let's go around the table and introduce ourselves, please.
You're Tony Crowley, a.k.a. your favorite trainer's favorite trainer.
KR Jones is in the building.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all type from near and far, you are now in store for a treat. That's right, folks. You are back in store with another one of those variety hours. That's when we give you our best foot forward. So hopefully you take your best foot forward throughout the course of your week, fellas.
My best foot's to the left.
Whichever one you want to step with, brother, whichever one you need. I need you to let people know how you motivating these goddamn people out here. Corey, what's going on? I'm going to start with you. What you did this week, it better be eventful because you interrupted.
All right, well, I started off with the left foot.
There we go.
And I went for a run.
Okay, there we go.
Ended up with 1.2.
You ran?
I ran.
We going to get that.
No, son, I didn't jog.
You ran?
I went for a mile run.
Okay. Kudos to you.
Then I went for an hour and a half stretch because I was tight. I'm old.
That math sounds right on that.
There we go. That's what's up, man. Glad you taking steps and you moving in the right direction. Young Jones, what's going on with you this week?
What's going on, brother? This week, for sure, I have been hitting the core work.
Okay.
I've been holding this standard of 30 minutes a day of just my core work. You know, for the listeners out there, I give you some free game. In order to get abs, you need 4 moves. You need a leg lift, you need a crunch, you need a rotation, and you need some type of stabilization.
Ooh, there we go.
So I just make sure I hit those 4 movements every day, and I got a partner with me, so an accountability partner in that regard, and we just been moving.
All right, cool. That's what's up, man. I'm not going to ask any questions or ask for any clarifications on where that went. It sounded very specific, so I appreciate you for sharing what you shared and nothing more.
There we go. You know what I mean? Details, baby. Details.
I picked up what you put down, and I kept it moving.
If you just pull the belly button in while you're doing work, you're going to get at least some of that ab work in there right there.
Oh, for sure. I'm working on my D'Angelo V.
There we go. All right.
For those listeners out there in listener land.
Listener land.
There we go. Exactly, man.
See me.
Flying V's is what he's coming through with. I appreciate you, Young Jones. And, man, other than the birds of paradise noises that my man is hitting you with, we had all kind of fun riding around this week. Shout out to the homie Free, because I've been night riding this whole damn week, man. And I'd like to let the listeners know to stay in tune for a special announcement coming out next week. We're going to be kicking off a little bit of a hosting gig back at DeKalb Market. That's fingers crossed if we do open up the right way. You might be hearing some game show-like activities from your boy. So we already had the bike gang activities.
Gang. Now
you're going to get this game show host activities.
Yeah.
Keep raising the bar, man. I keep giving these fools this template, this blueprint real quick. You know, once they get this blueprint, I see what they do, but I just keep on elevating, fella. You know what I'm talking about?
So you saying you lay it out for them to play it out?
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, he understands where I was going. Corey, are you picking up or we putting down?
Man, I am following what you're stepping in. I'm smelling it.
All right. And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners all type, it is going to be about that time. I mean, since my man Jones was talking about this flying V that we rolling in with, it's only right that we keep that same energy and we take you off into this week with Ripped. I don't know what kind of V y'all got going on. Y'all done took this whole thing in a different direction.
It's the V.
Y'all went to a different class. God damn it, it's Ripped from the headlines. I don't know what they're doing over on this side. But we going to focus in this Ripped from the headlines on the topic of shedding that quarantine 15. I know that in this lockdown situation, there's been times aplenty where people might have turned to the less than healthier options to get some comfort when we're inside there. You fellas know what I'm talking about. You had any guilty pleasure food you want to talk about real quick?
So many. Why you calling me out? Why you talking so loud like that, brother? What's up?
I feel triggered, fam.
I just want to know.
If we want to talk about all the pasta I made, that's my business. You know what I mean?
Listen, fam, I ate about an acre of nuts like every day.
I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to just, come on, fam. Come on.
Listen,
you just going to softball that in?
Ain't going to be no pause. It's all play on my side. So with that in mind.
That was an underhand.
He just lobbed that one. He Chris Paul that.
I know what I said, and I stand by it, goddammit.
All right, give it to him, Queen.
Yeah, exactly. Strong black queen. Stop trying to hate. So I was going through an acre of almonds, Corey.
Okay, all right.
And peanuts and cashews.
You got
Since
it,
we
brother.
got to be specific.
Yeah, get your almond joy, man. Get
Hell
your
yeah.
almond joy.
Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Goddammit, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
I must say, I never skip dessert. So
Okay.
I'm with you.
Yeah, man.
That was my guilty pleasure.
What was it though? You gotta get the listeners. What
Oh
you
man,
talking
I
about.
was hitting the ice cream hard. My
Yeah.
deli, I was leaning in. I tapped into all types of pints of ice cream, from the vegan to the non-vegan. I was exploring it all.
Yeah, man.
I found out that homemade pasta is not that challenging to make, and I almost ate my way into having celiac disease.
See, we all was out here, man.
I was in there, boy.
We was all out here
It was
doing
a
the
daily
wild.
pasta thing.
That's news to me. Okay.
We was all taking on this little bit of extra stress in many different ways, variety of ways, if we will. And combined with the fact that we wasn't moving around as much because the gyms was closed, has been something that was shown to add a couple LBs. Kind of like that freshman 15, but the quarantine 15 is real. So when we found out that New York City last week announced that they're going to start the return to opening back wellness facilities, gyms and small boutiques of all types, everybody rejoiced. But unfortunately, folks, the good, the bad, and the ugly are going to be contained in this same goddamn story because there was a lot of parameters that have people asking questions about how exactly you can open this up. So let's go through some of these details. I want to get some feedback from you guys, and I want to see how you guys feel about this new road opening back up. So,
I mean, I'm excited to get it in because right now I'm thick enough to have an OnlyFans page.
man, I want to get back into the gym, but I don't know if I could do it with these requirements. So now, first and foremost, all of the spaces that they're saying have to open up at a third capacity. The next thing they're saying is that all exercisers have to wear masks continuously throughout the workout. The next thing inside there is that most people have to stay 6 feet apart whenever possible. The team and the staff at each facility are supposed to be running contact tracing. And just for those folks who do not know and might be new listeners to our show, the contact tracing aspect, something that we talked about many moments ago on this Off the Strength podcast, where not only where you've been is going to be monitored by the gym or the facilities, by what is tracked and tagged on your phone. They're going to activate their network and try to make sure that you are doing your responsibility to quarantine. So I like it for the prevention side. Kind of curious as to when and who is actually watching you when you're not inside those spaces. So I have some red flags that I'd like to talk about. But the last thing, just as an owner and an operator, that one of the recommendations that we're getting from the governor is saying is that all these spaces are looking to upgrade their air filtration system to hospital grade standards. Now, I don't know how many people out there actually understand what that means, but you're talking about possibly spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to update your air filtration system for a business that hasn't been making money for at least conservatively 5 to 6 months. Fellas, how in the are you planning to open back up and be prosperous?
Not just a regular, not a from
just
anywhere.
let me know. How in the
That's too
like
easy.
the stallion? How in the are you
too
supposed to open back up after not making money for this long and spending an extra upwards to $150,000, $200,000 to get your facility up to speed? Let me know what your thoughts are.
I mean, realistically, very few businesses have that kind of money at all, especially after this situation. Not to mention all the other stuff that I'm sure we're about to dive into, which is why that's crazy. But the cost of changing that, the cost of having the additional employees that you would need to do all this extra work that's required. Not to mention the fact that I don't know about you, but I've worked in fitness spaces my whole life, and I've been a member of them half of it. And most of that time, I can't get you to cancel my membership, get me a towel, find my water, and now you're supposed to be in charge of making sure people are at a certain distance and pace. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's not really a feasible thing.
Yeah, compliance is a little curious on this side. Kyle, how you feeling on that, brother?
I often think about the practicality of it. So a plan is only as good as the execution, as you often say. So in theory, the idea of gyms opening, yeah, that sounds wonderful. I'm happy that people are able to get back into their health and wellness. But running a facility myself, I understand how information has to be dispersed, especially to the staff and the people that you have to bring on in such short notice. And you haven't made money in the last 5 or 6 months. That's a lot to take in and get people on board with to provide the safety necessary to keep this open. And the last thing I would want is to see something open and then it close immediately.
Exactly to that point, Kyle, because, again, New York City is a little late to the game, but as we have seen and learned from our friends in California, This illness that we are facing does have implicit impacts when you do not follow the strictest of standards. In fact, Kyle, a famous gym that shall remain nameless. God damn it, you know why you're not going to get your name on here. Exactly.
They ain't
Still
got no money
time.
to cut checks.
They ain't cut no checks. You know what I'm talking about. But they shall remain nameless. I keep that same energy. You know how I marched out. I'm still here. But they had to reclose recently. And then they even had their staff boycott returning because they did not, in fact, feel safe to come back to this space. And we're talking about net somewhere upwards to 86,000 potential workers and jobs, right? The industry at a total, according to Reuters.com, lost about $700 million per week during the time that gyms have been shut down. That's upwards to about $7 billion as of July across the entire industry. We were the fastest growing industry on the planet, folks. Now it is looking like we have to do a lot of change that comes around. And the governor also warned that much like restaurants, the fall is not predicted for this to be a good time. They're already starting to give parameters about how some outdoor eating restaurants and establishments may in fact have to close in the fall, and they already are opening, right? So what does that possibly mean for facilities where we have to be in close proximity to each other, sweating, breathing the entire time? I do not know, folks. I do not know, but that's why this is both the good, the bad, and the ugly this week and ripped from the headlines.
I feel for this whole situation because at the same time, you want to keep your business going. You want to not lose business. You want to be able to make money and keep whatever you invested in going. But at the same time, you have people's health concerns and other risks involved. It's a convoluted situation.
Yeah, that's good, bad, and ugly, Tony. I have nothing else to add to that. I will say I am, again, happy that the gyms do have this chance to reopen. That's just not a place that I see myself going to. Now, in return, I do hope that with gyms opening, that time that it took to get that kettlebell you're waiting on in 2022 is going to be here sometime sooner now.
I just got the update. They're up to the third letter now.
Okay,
That's
there
exactly
we go.
where
So,
they're at.
you know, that kettlebell is going to touch stone.
It's going to be forged. It's going to be forged. It's going to get down there one day. You know, I'm going to be ready to get back in shape the proper way, you know, and as I get into shape, I always want to make sure that my mindset is appropriately trained, right? I got to think about how I can get past all this negative news that's out here and the noise that's in there. And I got to get some, you know, a little bit more precision on my thoughts, Kyle. Kyle, I like to say that I want to get clarity on my thoughts, Kyle. Yoo-hoo. A moment of clarity. You know, you're going to leave that shit where you found it. He said, we ain't sporting that, brother. He out there by himself now. Corey, let me know what's going on with this week in moment of clarity.
Yo. Yo, let me in your ear, people. The main thing I want to talk about today, I want to talk about influence. I want to talk about how you allow things to influence you, who you allow to influence you, and how that really affects you, what that really does. First and foremost, whenever I feel like something is affecting me, whenever I see something, whenever I digest some information, and I feel like now it's giving me a new emotion, the first thing I look for is the profit. Who's made money from what I feel? Who's making some kind of gain from the emotion that they've evoked in me? So whenever you start to look at it that way, it's a sad prospect sometimes because you realize that a lot of things that you feel and a lot of emotions that you've been burned up in you may just be created in order to make somebody else some money. But at the same time, you also get hit right now. So one of the things I've been doing is taking a pause, disconnecting a little bit from all the social media. I turn off the news. I stay away from everything digital. I might listen to some music, but usually not even that. And I just let my emotions recover. I let the anger pass. I let the fear pass. And I try to approach everything almost with a reset. And sometimes you got to disconnect in order to remove those influences so that you can see how you really feel. And we're in an age of a connected disconnection, but we're not interacting with people the way we used to. So it's really easy to fall out of love with humanity and to forget that we're all human beings. And there's so much hate and there's so much anger going on and so many things to be afraid of that you have to give yourself a chance to shut down and really digest what's going on so that you can process it properly and make the right reaction to it after you've had time to process it. So, gentlemen, I ask you, what do you do to reset yourselves, to pull yourself back when you feel like you're getting overwhelmed with too much information?
One thing that I do for sure, and it's a technique that I picked up on in yoga teacher training and just other kind of spiritual trainings that I went through, is to ground yourself. So grounding is just a technique that you can use to feel one with earth and nature again. Oftentimes just being barefoot in the grass or in a grassy setting and having your bare feet touch the grass and just kind of sit there and breathe and look and observe and look at nature. And oftentimes it's a way to calm you and recenter you. And that just gives me a perspective shift a lot of times, because if we're honest, it's a heavy time that we're in, and it's heaviness that you hold with you in emotion. And if you don't get that emotion and feeling out in a positive manner, a lot of times it boils up, and that's when you explode on people. So for me, grounding was one of the techniques that I lean into heavy, especially during times like this.
What about you, Big Tone?
It's going to burn for me to say this, but it's coming from the heart. You know, Corey, I think it's been a long time coming. But when these emotions do come up, things tend to fall apart. You know, I really want to work stuff out, Corey. But, you know, my interactions and my influences, sometimes I think they're not going to change. It's best in these scenarios that I go my separate ways, Corey, is really what I'm trying to tell you. And typically, where those separate ways tend to take me is right next to the water side. Is where I was trying to get to. I like to look at some tranquility alongside my favorite waterfront. Now, that's typically done in parcel with the bike side. I don't know why you guys are laughing. I was trying to be emotional with you. I was just trying to give you...
I see that. You took us down there.
I was just trying to let it burn for a second, man. That's really the only thing I wanted to do.
Ushered us into...
you see what I did.
into a place.
Exactly. You know, if you're going to take it to a place, I know a place. Ain't no need for crying is what I'm trying to tell you. And when I get to that place, I take you there, and it's right next to the water. So, Corey, I go next to the water. That's really what all that was meant to say. You know, there you go.
The lakes of Minnetonka.
Hey, man, you purify yourself in those waters, man. You know, just like water.
You know what? That was beautiful, man. Like, the fact that just came fresh off the dome was amazing. I'm impressed.
That was in his back pocket all day. He was waiting to get that one out.
I knew exactly what he was going to say.
You could have won a Grammy off those words, man. That was...
Come on, man. We got to get in this improv, baby. We're trying to give it to him.
He's going to lay it out for you to play it out. For all you listeners out there in listening land, you stay sharp.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Paul with the mic over here.
You got to get with it, man. You got to be on point. We already, look, we 139 of these in. You don't know you're going to get a lot of references. I'm sorry. Keep up. Just keep moving. No coasting. Just keep pedaling.
Now, with that being said, there's only one place to go after that.
Where should we go?
I think we might have to raise the bar.
My man, he threw it to himself. That's off the backboard.
Rest in peace to the good man Kobe, throwing it off the backboard and dunking it. I'm following his footsteps.
It was Mamba Day recently.
It was Mamba Day, so you know it's praises to the Most High for sure. Fellas, you know me, I like to start the bar low and then pick it back up.
Okay.
All right.
So we're going to start in a low place today. Now, have either you gentlemen had the opportunity to look at Unwell on Netflix?
No.
I see blank stares across the room.
I have not.
Okay, so I'm going to take this time to fill you in. Unwell is a docuseries. I don't know how they classify these things nowadays. It's about 8 episodes, all about an hour long, and they talk about the wellness industry specifically. This was why I was tuned in. Mm-hmm. And they talk about it being a scam. So it was pretty much a back and forth of positives and negatives within the wellness industry.
I don't want you to go any further. I just want to let everybody know that, God damn it, in 2021, I'm coming for everybody who's been stealing my shit.
Oh, you know it. It's a lot like
get your hand out the toilet.
Just want to let everybody know that I'm coming back.
We got, we
there
out
seems
here.
to be a current theme going on.
There's just a lot of stuff that I keep seeing.
Now, that
looks really strange.
Now, I bring this up, and it's in the low part for a very specific reason, but there were 2 episodes that really caught my attention. First being bodybuilders bulking using breast milk and other reasons. Second being bee sting venom therapy.
Okay.
Now, when I bring those 2 things up, I see a question. Corey, please address the class. What's up?
Who's breast milk?
Okay, we're going to get into that. Tony, what you got?
I am withholding comments.
Okay. So, basically, there is a syndrome that often women go through that's called hyperlactation syndrome, in which they overproduce the amount of milk they have during pregnancy. So after they have a child, you know how women produce milk. There are women out there that produce too much of this milk. And
hard-working titties.
They're trying to figure out, well, what do I do with it? Do I throw it away, or do I sell it to consumers that need it? Now, who might these consumers be, you ask? They're premature babies, they're hospitals, and oddly enough, there are men out there buying breast milk to use and supplement with protein for bulking.
So the first two examples are totally plausible for what you said, and I will agree to that. And the last thing is something that don't have nothing to do with nothing I want to ever know about in life.
I mean, if you think about it.
Nope.
During the period of time where you do the most growing,
you see
tends to be when your lips are attached to a titty.
Listen,
I'm gonna just go ahead and let you know.
I'm not gonna plug all the science in right now because I want you to do your own Ooh, I couldn't get that one out. I want you to do your own dilly dally.
Get your dilly dally on the dilly side.
Get your own dilly dally.
Dad diddly.
I want people to do their own due diligence and do their own research and finding out what the science is behind this. But just know that it's getting wild out here, and women are selling breast milk by the ounce. Moving it. I'm not going to get into the prices because it's nuts, but it's a whole part-time business that could be full-time if you play your cards right. And I'm not even going to get into more of that. We're going to slide into the bee sting venom therapy now.
Now, that, I would think the mechanism has to do with something similar to what Botox is.
Hey, brother, you're going a little too fast for me.
My bad. I'm just thinking through it.
I need you to pump your brakes,
I'm
champ.
going to pump the brakes. Brakes are pumped.
With that being said, as Tony was alluding to, yes, it is similar to like a Botox situation. So when a bee stings you, oftentimes the venom enters your body. Your body has what we would call an anti-inflammatory response. So if you are being stung, blood's going to go there. It's trying to figure out what's happening. It might swell up. For Botox, it pulls on the skin to remove wrinkles. So the ideology behind it is if I take this bee and sting you in a place where you have wrinkles, the wrinkles will go away and that skin will fill out. It's only known to last maybe 5 to 6 hours or so, but for someone who has issues around skin, this could be beneficial to them. That was one of the reasons that it was used. Another reason was to cure something like Lyme disease that people have, and also to cure arthritic pain. So people that have joint pain, if I were to take a physical bee and sting the joint that you have pain in, blood is going to rush to that area and relieve some of the pain that you have. How do you gentlemen feel about having a live bee sting you?
How do I personally feel, or how do I feel about people doing it? Because if you
Give me both.
My feelings on most things in life, if you are not actively putting anybody else's life in danger, you're not hurting anybody else, you never going to get a complaint from me. That's how I feel about a good 99.9% of things in life. Now, would I ever have a bee sting me anywhere? Hell no, on purpose. But I understand the mechanism of what you're talking about, because I'm almost sure that some form of botulism is inside that Botox, right? So it's something that is based off of a reaction to something that might be averse to your system, but it elicits a positive effect. And that's with the blood perfusion and all the rest of that kind of stuff too. I can get the mechanism of what that is pulling from, and I can see where it can make sense. Would I do it? No. But if it looks good on you, go ahead and wear it.
Okay.
I've been stung by a bee.
Okay.
I was fucking beautiful afterwards.
All right.
Glistening.
Made me glorious.
Really?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to take that as you do not or will not participate in.
I can't see myself getting stung by a bee on purpose, but I do echo Tony's statement. If you want to get stung by a bee, do your thing.
Say less. It was very interesting, to say the least. Other topics that they covered throughout this docuseries was tantric sex. They talked about ayahuasca.
Which episode was that?
You can go look. You go do your own dilly dally.
Do your own diddly dee.
You go do your own dilly dally. Not on my time. All right.
Do your own Don Dada.
Just other topics that were covered. So it was interesting enough to me to bring up here because it is the wellness industry. And if you look at it, there was just this dichotomy between this is what works best for me, and then there was often a doctor or somebody else like, no, that's crazy. I would never do that. So it's a constant back and forth of you should and you shouldn't. So it leaves you as a user or consumer like, maybe I should do my own dilly dally.
Yeah,
okay.
you got to diddle
Watch
dally,
out for that influence.
do dabble whenever you got to get yours on. Right? Any science-based industry, any true science-based industry, should have a camp of people that are extremely for something and should have a camp of people that are extremely against that same thing, right? And the Socratic method of trial and error should lead you to what that actually should be doing.
Bingo.
There we go.
Now, I'm going to move it up just a little bit more to what else is happening in the world. Now, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about...
See what you did there with the B?
Of course. I would be remiss if I did not talk about Jacob Blake and the situation that transpired in Wisconsin.
Okay.
And how it then transcended something that has never happened before in the sports world. Now, the NBA players for the Milwaukee Bucks decided to boycott a live playoff game that was already scheduled. Once they boycotted, the rest of the teams fell in line. Before you knew, it was a whole NBA thing, and then it transcended into the WNBA. It was in Major League Baseball. It was in soccer. Pretty much the entire sport community, it was in tennis, came together and did not want to play because of the Black Lives Matter movement, because of the senseless shooting that happened between police officers and Jacob Blake. And I feel like we are sitting on history right now, and we're watching it unfold before us. Now, were you gentlemen able to catch any of the NBA protest or boycotting that took place?
I did not catch any of the boycotting. I have seen the reactions to it, and this is just confession to everything. I don't purposely have a TV in my house right now at this moment because I have about 5 projects in circulation, and I just moved into my place, and I'm not buying a TV until I finish getting one project fully funded. So that is somewhere about September, October. So hopefully I can get back in there. But fast forward through all of that as to why I just might not be able to give you the quick reaction. Inside of what we're seeing today, just speaking about living inside of a historic moment in time, I think we're finally starting to see people getting tired of the pageantry of you being able to say that you care about a situation and not bearing the responsibility to actually show up when it's time for you to show up. And this is something that I do feel is a rejoiceful situation because I am sick and tired of being sick and tired about people coming in your face and telling you that your life does matter on the ally side, but then when it's time, when shit hit the fan and you not still a fan in the real direction, I feel that that's almost even worse than some of the visceral reactions that lead to the eroding of your circumstance being there in the first place because it pacifies everything. I'm rejoiceful in the fact that the sports world, which is disproportionately stacked with people who are subject to these kind of scenarios, I am rejoiced to see that they're moving in the right direction. And everybody else, hopefully they follow suit too. I would love to see the wellness world do the exact same thing, especially as we're starting to think about opening up. I would love to see somebody walk out in a similar fashion because then people would really start to pay attention to what our actual power is on this side.
I think we are coming down to the last possible opportunities to keep this civil. And it's getting dangerously close to a time where enough is enough and fed up is fed up and you've done all the gesticulation you can do. This is so impactful and it's so important to the world right now. There's still people through all of this that's going on that still have something negative to say about Black people simply saying that we are supposed to be able to live safely and not worry about being killed by the exact people who are employed to protect us. There's a point where entertainment doesn't matter, where money doesn't matter, and it's about your actual life. I don't know how long we can continue to go making grandstands and making statements.
So here are a few of the commitments from the NBA and the NBA Players Association to resume the playoffs because they did boycott 2 games. So the games were a Wednesday game, a Wednesday night, a Thursday night game. I don't believe the games are happening tonight. I'm not up in the know. But before they resume, they said that they would establish a social justice coalition featuring reps from players, coaches, and governors. They would convert team arenas into voting locations for 2020 general election and create advertising spots in playoff games that promote civic engagement in local and national elections. So it seems as though that not only did they have a plan in place, but they're also making executions on that plan. And I look forward to seeing how this unfolds moving forward.
And I could speak to that directly because I can, at this stage, talk about one of the projects that I'm trying to get funded is in correlation with some of the pledges that the NBA is making at this point in time, and it has a direct tie to getting kids involved in government at an early age. So with that all in mind, I know companies and organizations like the NBA and some of the companies that circulate in that direction, I know that they're serious about trying to make really impactful moves, so I want to applaud them in that direction as well.
I hear you. I mean, it sounds like we're in a low place, but it's really the space for change. And I don't think change is not even I don't think change never happens when you're comfortable. And that's why raising the bar today, we started low, went a little bit higher, but that high is the work. You know what I mean? That's when you pushing that bar off your chest and you got to re-rack it. If you feel what I'm saying, Brother Tone?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know when you put that weight on the rack and you know what you accomplished? Then after that, you got to relax responsibly.
You definitely do. All right, letting Kyle get a little dangerous with these passes again.
Yeah.
he did the off and back.
You gave him one. He went so fast as it between the legs
again.
back to me.
He did it again, but I like it. All right, it's time to relax responsibly, Mr. Jones. I mean, you got the hot hand, man. I want you still shooting, brother. What's going on?
You know me. I'm relaxing responsibly to some good music. Lately, I've been bumping Larry June a lot. Now, Larry June is an artist from the Bay Area, from San Francisco, Frisco, if he would say it, and he often raps about a lavish lifestyle of smoothies, bike riding, and staying healthy.
That sounds like a brother we need on this show.
Listen, when it happens, it's gonna happen.
Let's
now, his rapping about such a healthy lifestyle has influenced me to treat myself a little bit.
You got some healthy bars for
Oh,
us?
you know what? No healthy bars for me. But I will say that I have this week specifically been focusing a lot more on ciders, wines, and fine dining.
Okay.
So when I go out, a lot of times it's real easy to fall into that, give me a tequila. I'm not going to name any names. Your ad goes here.
That's right.
But with that being said, I work my way around the menu. I look at the ciders or citrus or things of that nature to dig into the quality items on the menu and the good things to eat. But that's how I relax responsibly.
Expansion of the palate on the relaxation menu. I like this, Jones. It looks good on you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
I like what you're doing. Corey, what you relaxing to this week, my man?
You know I like to take it to a different level, man. I like the bubble bath.
Okay.
Ooh. Now, I like to get the bath salts in, get the essential oils depending on what mood I need. Might be lavender for a certain mode, might be eucalyptus for another. Depends on what you need is what you put in there.
Okay.
Now, the problem is, I'm not the average size dude, so
I was about to ask how that works
for a lot of the stuff that was happening.
I gotta relax in shifts.
There we go.
So I get the lower body chilling.
I was about to ask, because normally you do, the top is out and the feet in, or the feet out and the top in.
Get that bubble bath in you know what I mean?
Calgon is taking Corey away. All right.
Might wash my hair a little bit, you know.
I want you to exhale, brother. I want you to feel good about your situation.
Purify yourself.
In the waters. We came right back to the water. That's what I was talking about, man. Oh, damn. Gents, this week I'm trying to get back into a real yoga practice. That's been the thing that I've been trying to do. Because you know what happens when you spend a lot of goddamn time on that bike and you don't start to stretch? Not a lot of relaxing happening when I went to go sit on this couch and start to get some work done. I went to go stand up. I felt every one of these 34 years jump right back on me. So I've been looking into a couple of different classes. I looked around. I saw some stuff being hosted over at Heel House. Friends of the show. I want them to come on through one day. But I've been enjoying some of their classes. And I want to get some of this new hotness that I heard my brother was working on. As soon as he taps in, I'm going to jump right into these new style classes that he got coming down the line. I can't wait to see the collaboration. If you guys are paying attention, please do. There might be some new ways to relax coming soon on this side. That's all I can say on that one. But as I'm starting to get a little bit more stretch to my flex, I'm going to make sure that I relax because, fellas, when it's time to relax.
I don't always relax. But when I do it responsibly.
There we go.
I'm back, baby.
He had to come off the pick on that one.
It was only so many.
You set the screen, I dipped the shoulder, I came around the side, and I put the shot up.
I'm not
now
mad,
I'm back
man.
on D, baby. What's up?
Listen, as long as you feel good about it.
Did you call glass?
No, I ain't called glass. It was all net. I called game.
I don't know what y'all got. I don't know what y'all got going on, man. But I'm happy that y'all feel good about your situation. I'm happy that we all getting a chance to relax. Is there anything that you guys are hopeful for coming into this next week? As we all have talked about some of the uncertainty this week, right? And it's still going to be a clear and present thing. It's something that's been around here in this 2020 situation. Everybody feels it all the time. So I like to try to set the intention for the next week coming up, so that hopefully throughout the weekend and when you start off on that next week, again, we putting that best foot forward, we have something positive to start off with. That's my goal in that situation. So I would say, fellas, I'm hopeful that next week, with all these crazy projects that I'm talking about being up in the air, I get a couple of them on the track, and I keep taking these same opportunities and I turn them from one thing into the multitude that I know it needs to be to get this armada, this conglomerate on the ground and running like we're supposed to. It starts with that one step. Like my man Corey said, it's going to be the left. But it's happening. So what do you guys hopeful with?
I'm making sure I call my mama more often. My mom is a wise lady, and you know how you're young, you don't listen to your mama? Then I got older and realized she knew what she was talking about when I did the same thing she told me I was going to do. Mm-hmm. So that's one of my times of peace is talking to my mama. Just get on the phone with my mom. I'm corny. We be singing Sound of Music soundtrack songs together on the phone and all kind of foolishness, but that's my peace right there. That's how.
There we go, man.
Peace to Mom Dukes. I'm looking forward to putting new energy into new spaces.
Okay.
So when you plan and you execute, it's time to execute, and it's time to put new energy into everything that you thought you was working on. It needs that reappraisal, and once you put that new energy into it, you give it new legs, you put new momentum behind it, you sit back and watch things grow. So that's what I'm looking forward to this week coming up.
This brother's ready to flow next week.
All right.
He might be the golden child right now. I see where Jones is going.
Hey, Brother Tone, you might need to be like water.
My man.
Man, I want to say thank you to y'all, for real. Like, just thanks, man. Thanks for listening. Thanks for staying with us. Thanks for staying strong. Thanks for hitting us up and asking questions and keeping communication going. Thanks for pausing for us while we paused for a little bit so we could gather ourselves and come back together stronger. And, thanks for being there. We appreciate y'all. Mad love.
Hell yeah. They've heard the good, the bad, the ugly. They got their motivation in their moment of clarity. They raised their bar. They heard how to relax, and they have gotten a moment of hope for the next week. So, folks, that's going to be it from this week's episode of Off the Strength. I'm a trainer called Tony.
You're a trainer, Corey.
KR Jones.
Peace and much love to y'all. Until next time, we'll see you soon.
Wash your hands.